This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. This is the show where we talk about your relationships, your mental wellness, your career, your jobs, your money, and your life. It's called The Ramsey Show. The phone number is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. One of the beautiful things about having a career as long as mine has been, over 30 years now of doing these various things, talking about money and life around the world, and on the air here for coming up on 30 years, not quite yet, is that I've gotten to see a whole bunch of very, very cool milestones occur. And today is one of those. Brand newly minted Ramsey personality has been with us for under a year, but has just been on the air a couple of times with me for a couple segments, is now officially one of our co-hosts. Joining me today is Christina Ellis. We've introduced her to you before. She is absolutely incredible. She's going to answer your questions along with me and George and Rachel and Deloney and Coleman and all the people we put on here. I probably left somebody out, but I think I got most of them. Anyway, we're here, and, we have a whole series of co-hosts that do this show with me and together sometimes when I'm not here, and Christina joins that bunch today. She is a brilliant lady, and so she'll have a lot to add to your life, a lot of comments, a lot of wisdom that'll help you, and I think it's probably a good idea. I know we've done this before, but on Milestone Day, I want to take a second and let our audience one more time hear your story, the short version of your story, because it's really, really important, because our stories are what bring us here. Our stories are what what allow us to answer these questions, because you can get a degree and still not have any wisdom. But when you got a story, now a little experience, you start to get to some wisdom. So let's go back to your mom ends up raising you as a single mom after the loss of your dad.
Yeah, my mom, she is such a wonderful mom. She's super motivated and believed in us completely. And she actually sat me down my freshman year of high school and she said, Christina, I love you and I believe in you, but there's just no way that I can support you financially once you graduate from high school. You got to figure out your own way to pay for college.
She's a single mom. She's a widow. Your dad passed when you were
7 years old.
7 years old. Okay.
After a long and painful battle with
And
brain
she was an
cancer.
immigrant. She was Venezuelan?
Venezuelan.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so even though it was really hard to choke that down, I knew that she was just trying to help. She actually said, Christina, if you work hard enough now, you can go to college and start fresh, completely debt-free with scholarships. And I didn't really know how that could happen at the time. I wasn't a perfect student. I wasn't a star athlete. So I was kind of confused at how I could win scholarships, but she had so much belief in me that I somehow started believing in myself. And I started doing a ton of research. I read every book, every article, every magazine I could find on scholarships. And I put together a strategy and I went for it. I worked hard throughout high school. I built up my extracurricular activity list. I did a ton of volunteer work. And then my senior year of high school, I treated the scholarship application process like a part-time job. I just applied. And thankfully, that hard work, it paid off. It led me to win over $500,000 in scholarships.
$500,000. Okay, hello. Yeah, but you can't go to school without student loan debt, you told me, right? Some of you people out there. And I think she just mic dropped on you right there, okay? So $500,000, and you go and get a degree in?
Yep, human and organizational development and business planning and entrepreneurship.
And then went on and got a master's in?
Education.
In education, okay, wow.
Yes, completely debt-free, thank God.
So now we have another graduate level Ramsey personality, because Deloney has 2 PhDs. I have, a PhD in DUMB. I've got one in life experience, but now unofficially, and we can't make as much fun of Vanderbilt because you graduated from Vanderbilt.
I did graduate from Vanderbilt.
Yeah, so
it was good to me.
I got to take it easy on Vanderbilt if you got your master's from Vanderbilt and paid for it all with scholarship money.
Completely paid for with scholarships.
Yeah. No student loans, and wow. So we ran into Christina years ago. She became a part of the Borrowed Future documentary. We had her talk to teens as we were working on this whole student loan debacle, crisis, epic failure in our culture. She was one of the voices out there saying, you don't have to. You had a best-selling book on the same subject of how I got $500,000 in scholarship money, and that was about 8 or 10 years ago. And we have we've remained friends, and then you joined the team. It's been under a year, right?
Yep, right about 6 months.
About 6 months ago, and she's been has been a part of our extended family for some time, and so she knew the Ramsey answers to your money questions in addition to the student loan stuff. And so we knew it would be really, really easy for her to come in and definitely become our in-house expert on don't take out a student loan, because you really can't deny the story that she has lived. But also just become yet another money personality along with George and Rachel to be able to answer your money questions and your life questions, which we all do here as well. And so she's been working with Dr. Deloney and King Coleman and on the career piece and on the mental wellness piece, and also with our leadership team here. And now we're ready to have another co-host. Congratulations. Welcome.
Thank you. I am so thrilled to be here.
Such good stuff. So you need to expect big things from her, and expect her answers to be accurate, because they will be as she answers your questions all across America right now. She's been on media for the last 2 weeks, doing media all over the nation. The interviews are absolutely astounding. But you had good media training from back when you had the best-selling book before you got here.
Yeah, I've been out there for a while working with students and families, just fighting this toxic student loan industry, trying for a long time to tell people you don't have to take out student loans to pay for college. There is another way. And thankfully, I've been able to work with thousands of families around the country and help shift their mindset to help them see that you don't have to go to college with debt. You can do it debt-free.
So fighting this toxic culture is something she was doing and we are doing. And so, it made a natural fit. So we'll take your calls. It's toll-free and nationwide right here on The Ramsey Show. The phone number is 888-825-5225. If you do have a student loan question, we certainly have one of the world's top experts here. And I'll speak into it too, just because I'm like an expert on my opinion and stuff. So, you call in, but we'll talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. As always, the phone number 888-825-5225. It's common sense for your dollars and cents. And, I think, to me, I'm impressed with the master's degree from Vanderbilt. That's an impressive thing. But I think being raised by a widowed single mom from Venezuela probably qualifies you to give answers more than just about anything.
Oh, well,
Can you imagine? The wisdom that woman and the hard work ethic.
And that's the thing, that she instilled a work ethic in us that helped us tackle anything that we faced. And I think that is the biggest key to success, is being willing to fight no matter what obstacles stand in your way.
Yeah. And she didn't tolerate excuses. She was not an excuse woman.
Oh, no.
She's a get-her-done warrior princess. I like it. This is as good as it gets. This is The Ramsey Show.
Life is full of firsts. As the first and longest-serving Christian health cost-sharing ministry, CHM has shared medical expenses for its members since 1981. We believe you should have the freedom to focus on your health while being supported by a community of believers, giving you the opportunity to create many more firsts.
Best-selling author, Ramsey personality Christina Ellis is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Jacob is with us in, wait a minute, I hit the wrong button. Jacob is with us in Decatur, Illinois. Hey, Jacob, what's up?
Hey, Dave. Hey, Christina. How are you guys doing?
Better than we deserve, brother. How can we help?
Hey, Christina. This question's more for you. I'm a 30-year-old.
See, it didn't take but one call for you people to cut me out of the show. Just one call, and I go straight, Christina, you're all we need now. I like it. I'm so rejected. No, I'm kidding, Jacob. Go ahead.
I'm 30 years old, and I'm thinking about changing careers. Me and my wife have decided that it's a good idea for me to change careers, but we both want me to get scholarships. And just being 30 years old, I'm having trouble finding scholarships for people wanting to change careers. So where would be a good place to go and look? Because I just find stuff for kids coming out of high school for scholarships.
Well, Jacob, what do you want to study?
Nursing.
And what do you do right now?
I'm in the trades.
Awesome. Well, you can definitely find scholarships way beyond high school. I've met so many people who've applied for scholarships all throughout college and gone back as adults. I want you to, one, start looking at scholarship databases. You can narrow down exactly the criteria that fits you. So type in nursing, type in going back to school, look for unique qualities about you that'll help you stand out, and you can plug it into those databases. It's basically like Google for scholarships. So definitely start there. And then I, as basic as this sounds, recommend a basic Google search where you type in those unique qualities like nursing, comma, scholarships, comma, going back to school. And that often yields really great results. Now, also being somebody...
Go 4 pages deep when you do that.
Right.
Don't take the first 3 clicks on it.
Right. Definitely. And also look into programs for people specifically going back to school with your state. A lot of states have programs that are for people who are returning to school, returning students. And sometimes hospitals have programs where you can work and get tuition benefits while you're actually working for the hospital. So there are a lot of options for you out there. And I just encourage you to really dig deep and explore all those options. But you are definitely on the right track.
Yeah. The other thing is that you are entering a field that is known for paying for stuff. Nursing, there's been a perpetual shortage for decades, and a lot of the medical field, a lot of the hospital companies will pay for you to go to school. Now you're going to come, it's going to be an indentured servant program, so to speak. You're going to promise to go to work for them as a part of the thing, or if you could get a certain level of certification, get your foot in the door, become an employee, they'll pay for you to finish your school and that kind of thing. So the big hospital corporations like HCA, those kinds of guys, there's a lot of those guys that are willing to pay to do that. So if you're in a field that has high demand, the potential employer may do it.
And also consider looking at colleges that are potentially tuition free, especially if you go with community college first. There's a lot of community colleges that offer 2 years of free school. And if you're a nurse, you could maybe start with, a 2-year program to get your feet wet because you haven't done it before. And you can figure out in that 2 years, is this something I really want to do? Is this really the direction I want to go with that career shift?
Yeah, find out if there's some kind of an associate's degree that precludes or that is a prerequisite for nursing that will get your foot in the door again, and work your way through like that. So that all of that will work. The great news is the field you're entering is wide open. A lot of people have left the field because they've been driven out by the vaccine controversies. And so there's a lot of need. And so you're probably going to find assistance from the industry in different ways. Be sure you're looking for that. Good question. Jordan's with us in Miami. Hey, Jordan, welcome to the Ramsey Show. What's up?
Hey, Dave, and welcome to the team, Christina. Good to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm excited to be here. How can we help?
Hey, great. Well, got a question. What would Dave do kind of question. I'm 42. I'm going to be debt-free, emergency fund and all by next year at this time. And once I get that, thank you very much. Once I get completed with that, I'm going to have to save for a new car. And I want to do the 100% down for a condo, but I don't know if that is going to be possible considering I will be 43 and I've got about $2,500 in retirement right now. And I'm not even contributing to that while I'm focusing and getting to Zelle and hitting my goals with this. I'm just worried about retirement and doing the 100% down for the house. And I'm single right now, so it's just me doing this.
Yeah. So what do you think the target dollar is?
What do you mean?
How much money would you need to save?
Well, I mean, the condo prices right now, the average price, I'm actually outside of Miami. I'm actually near Fort Myers, Naples, around $250,000.
Okay. And what do you make?
And that kind of, I make around $47,000, and with my side hustles, I teach, so I make around $47,500. With my side hustles, probably about 50.
50 additional or total of 50?
No, total of $50,000 a year.
So your side hustle is $200 a month?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, here's the thing. We don't want. I don't recommend, is what a better way of saying it. We don't recommend that you put a permanent stop on retirement to save up a down payment or to save up for a house longer than about 3 years.
Okay.
And so if you wanted to get a head start on it and go, okay, we're going to do baby step 3B, we're going to finish the emergency fund, go up to 3 years and pile up as much as I can pile up towards 100% down, see where we are at that point, and then start saving for retirement. Because I don't want
What about in a mutual fund?
Yeah, in good growth
Should
stock.
I save it in there?
Yeah, you could. That's okay, but that's not going to be the answer to the equation. It's just going to take you a while. I mean, if you get $10,000 a year into this account, is that 25 years? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, and so we obviously don't want to avoid retirement for that. If you put $20,000 in, it's 12 years. I don't want to avoid retirement for that long. And so it's probably going to involve you putting a down payment on something and paying it off as quickly as you can rather than the 100% down plan, or it's going to involve you getting your income up dramatically.
Okay.
Because the ratio of your income to the $250,000 target is what's bogging the math down. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I guess I was wondering if I should just do a strong down payment or just 100% down. I mean, am I going to be okay at retirement considering I only have $2,000 right now, and next year I'll be just going full force at 40? Okay.
You are. If you take 3 years off and save up a good strong down payment, and then take off from 45 to 65, and you save 15% of your income during that time, and if you never get a raise, you're still going to be fine.
Okay.
And we know you're going to get a raise.
What would you guess, Dave, if you had to guess at?
Well, I think you can jump at RamseySolutions.com, use one of our retirement calculators, and it'll help you calculate it to be exact. But I mean, if you're saving 15%, that's $7,500 a year. And if you do that for 20 years, that's going to be in excess of $1 million in your, in good growth stock mutual funds, or up close to that. You're going to be retiring with dignity. And during that 20 years, you would get any mortgage you take out paid off because we're telling them never to take out more than more than a 15-year fixed rate mortgage.
Yep.
Right.
And Jordan, I just love your motivation. I love your heart in this. I love that you're desiring to put 100% down. That's just incredible. But if you do follow the baby steps and put, 15% in retirement, and then get your down payment, get your 15-year mortgage, and then pay it off, you're going to be to baby step 7 before you know it, which is really exciting. So I love your heart behind this and just where you are with wanting to do this.
Yeah, I agree. And I always want to encourage people to do the 100% down plan. I want you to be thinking that way. And I love that we've convinced him that it's possible. Yeah. And the thing is, when you just look at your ratios on the math, that's what throws you. And so, how much can you save out of $50,000? If you could save $25,000, which is serious beans and rice after you pay taxes and eat, right? Can you save $25,000? Then that's still a 10-year plan to get to $250,000. So the real trick to the equation is go double your income, dude. And then boom, boom, this happens in 4 years and the whole discussion changes. But I don't know how you do that. You've got to decide how that works in your career field and in what God's called you to do. This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're considering a career in technology, I recommend Bethel Tech, and I'm not alone. Here's what Brendan said. Before Bethel Tech, I was driving Uber. Within 4 months of graduating, I got a job paying $60,000. About 2 years after that, I got a remote job that pays me $130,000. All thanks to what I learned at Bethel Tech. You could be next. Get started today at betheltech.net and get $1,000 to $2,500 off of your tuition. Again, it's betheltech.net/Ken Coleman.
Justin and Katie are with us in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. Hey, guys, how are you?
Good.
Great.
Welcome. Good to have you. Christina Ellis, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. You're here to do a debt-free scream. Congratulations. How much have you paid off?
We paid off $133,853 in 25 months.
Wow. And what was your range of income during that 2 years and a month?
We started out at $82,000 and we got up to $180,000.
Good for you. Way to go. What kind of debt was the 134?
We had credit cards, 2 vehicles, lots of medical bills, and $60,000 in student loans.
You guys were normal.
Very normal day, very normal.
And you woke up and realized normal sucks.
It did.
Very much so.
Man, how long y'all been married?
10 years.
Okay, so 8 years or so, 7 years or so into the marriage, something happened and you said, oh crap, this has got to change. Tell me what happened.
Well, Dave, I kind of hear you talking about it sometime, or your callers are calling in. You know, there was something that I wanted. I went to go get it, and Katie pretty much told me, said, hey, we can't do that. And I said, there's no way. We live in South Mississippi, make a pretty good income. Why can't I do it? She said, we have no money. And she kept telling me about this Ramsey, the program, FPU and everything, and I kept blowing it off. I'm like, you know what? I was raised in church. I've heard of Dave Ramsey, and she finally talked me into spending the money. And it wasn't you just trying to get money from us. You know, it was actually going to be helpful stuff. And when we played that first or second video, it had this guy running around on stage, and he's talking about being this hillbilly from Tennessee, and he's cutting up these cards, and I could relate to that, okay? The redneck boy from Mississippi could relate to him. And I jumped up, and I'm like, that's it. She's like, are we not watching no more? I said, no, we're doing this. And I went straight to the drawer, and I got the Home Depot card, and I cut it up, and I cut the MasterCard up, and I said, we're done with this. You know, and then it was on.
And Katie, you're going, what just happened?
I was not expecting such a response, and I didn't really think he would jump on board so quick.
And so thoroughly.
Very much so. I think it really, truly hit me that this wasn't an impulse, because 2 months later he sold his $70,000 truck. That was his dream truck. Without even telling me, he just went and did it and came back home and was like, it's gone.
Whoa. What kind of truck?
It was a F-150 loaded out, Larry.
I guess it was. Yeah. Oh my gosh, man!
And
a guy like you sells your truck. I mean, hey, Katie, that's a husband yelling, "I love my wife."
That was "I love you" for that. I remember that moment for the rest of my life, right there. I truly felt loved.
You should have.
And Dave, it was on. I mean, podcasts. I'd never listened to podcasts in my life. I was listening to them, and then all of a sudden, in March 2020, the pandemic hits, and I'm a school teacher, so I go home and, to flatten the curve for 2 weeks, I'm there forever, it feels like. And I'm doing all these chores around the house. I'm listening to your show, and she's a RN, she's a nurse, and she keeps mentioning about this travel nursing thing, that people are starting to go travel nursing. I'm blowing it off. It's like, there's no way we can do this. And I start praying about it, and I'm painting outside the house one day, and I'm listening to your show, and a lady calls in, and she's like, Dave, I really want to do this, but I don't want this to be my long-term plan. And you're like, this ain't your 10-year plan. This is your short-term plan. So I called her. I was like, hey, God and Dave just spoke. We're going travel nursing, so.
That's amazing. Who were your biggest cheerleaders in the process?
Our biggest cheerleader was his mother. We could not do half the things we do without her. She constantly keeps the kids, make sure we're fed. I can leave for months at a time and know that they're all taken care of. And I mean, of course, he does a great job with the house and getting them to activities in school, but she just constantly, we're very flexible.
Are you still travel nursing?
No, actually, because of financial peace, I was able to take a job 2 miles from the house that pays not as much as
Well, I
a lot
know
of places.
nothing pays as much as travel nursing.
Or even hospitals that are an hour away. A lot of people have to travel from where we live because we're really rural. But because of our peace and our situation, I don't have to. I get to choose something
So
that's
how
2
long
miles
did you
from
how long did you travel nurse?
For the 22 months.
For 22 months, almost 2 years. That's a long time.
Very long.
That's a serious sacrifice.
Yes. Last year I was home 28 days out of the year. I worked all the other ones 14, 21 days in a row.
So how much were you making doing that?
Up to 60, 140.
Yeah. So I mean, we added 100,000 to our income.
Almost,
Yeah.
By doing that.
Yeah. But now you're free forever.
That's right.
So you paid a price. You lived like no one else. You worked like no one else. So now you can work like no one else. Wow.
Y'all are
And you get to be Mr. Mom.
Yeah,
I did.
he sacrificed a lot, and we have 4 here and 1 that wasn't able to come with us, and that's a lot to juggle and do by yourself. So
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's man. You guys both really jumped in and went all in. It's impressive. You're
Yeah.
impressive people.
Y'all are amazing. What would you tell people is the key to getting out of debt?
Like y'all talk about knowing your why. Obviously, 4 out of 5 of our whys are here, but surrounding yourself with positive influences, people that's going to keep you motivated. And if you're going to follow the program, follow the program. It's not easy. Going back to what Dave says, him and Sharon throwing down at the house over stuff. I mean, our budget meetings wasn't easy. I mean, we left there mad sometimes, but we'd come back and say, okay, this is what we got to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it looks easy because we're standing here now, but you got to grind it out and do it. And I know not everybody can increase their income by 100,000, but there's so many things. Every store you go in right now says we're looking for full-time or part-time help. There's stuff out there just to get out of this season of life.
right.
After all the hard work, after all the sacrifice, how does it feel to be debt-free?
I don't think it's hit all the way for me. Sometimes, yes, taking the job close to home was easy that I get to. But sometimes we still have goals that we're grinding, and so sometimes I forget that it's not toward debt. But then when something comes up, like if new tires need to be bought, it's okay. We're prepared for that. Used to that would crush us. Used to it would take. I mean, I would cry and just wonder how many more extra hours do I have to work. I mean, that 82,000 we started with was him working 3 jobs and me working 2 different hospitals. I mean, we've always been a worker, but now we're down to him just teaching and me just working 1 job and being home more. And God's blessed us through that process and our obedience to be able to make more now than we were when we started, when we were working 5 jobs total.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Very cool.
That's
You guys are
incredible.
impressive. You're a very neat couple. I'm very proud of you. Okay, so you decided to go on the road travel nursing. Because I travel occasionally, and people that think travel is glamorous are people who don't do it. And so it is actual work when it's involving work. And it adds work to deal with TSA and deal with hotels and deal with all the stuff. So you had to have people out there looking at y'all like you were nuts, like questioning your sanity.
Look, even people at church, I'd come around and, like I said, when I was all in, that's all I was talking about. I still talk about, Dave Ramsey plan, what to do. And people at church, they would always joke at me, something about Ramsey. Is that Ramsey approved what we were doing or whatever, and they still do that. And, and I laugh it off, but there's also people that reach out to us that say, hey, what are y'all doing? How can y'all help, or what can I do? And we love to pass on the information. That's something I'm looking in, is trying to go into the Ramsey coach, and that's kind of my future plan, to kind of do that on the side. And
a lot of the
it's opened
conversation
up a lot of doors.
comes from he's always been a great gift giver, but I did not realize until we started this journey how much he loves to give. And we were making more money, and we're in this journey, and I get focused, and I'm a planner, and so this is our plan, and this is how much we're going to put toward it. And he'll be like, oh, this family needs their water turned back on, or this family their dad just lost their job, let's help them out. And I'll be like, but that's what we're putting toward it. And I'd have to refocus. Okay, God. And he would just give it. And so a lot of people reach back out and be like, well, how are y'all able to do that? And not that they know, but he's just constantly, if there's a need, okay, we can meet that. Or even if it's just a small thing, I'll help, put a little gas in your car so you can get to work.
Let's bring these girls in. Their names, Micah, Magnolia, Madeline, and Maddox. Y'all like M's, don't you?
We do. And the oldest, Macy, she had
She's
JV
14.
softball, so she couldn't come.
Okay, so what are their ages? What's the range?
14, 10, 7, 5, and 3.
Oh, beautiful. Very cool. Well, we're so honored to have y'all. Way to go. We got a copy of the Baby Steps Millionaires book for you. That's the next chapter in your story. And this is $134,000 paid off in 25 months, making 82 to 180. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free! Well, if you think it's easy, you're wrong. If you think it's worth it, you're right. This is The Ramsey Show. Christina Ellis, best-selling author, Ramsey personality, is my co-host today as we answer your questions about your life and your money. It's a free call at 888-825-5225. Harrison is in Dallas. Hi, Harrison. What's up?
Hey, y'all. How are y'all doing?
Better than we deserve, brother. How can we help?
Yes, sir. Hey, I'm calling in today. I'm just in a particular situation. Thought I'd seek some advice. I'm 27 years old. I have a farm out near the Dallas area, and basically the in-laws are moving out onto the farm, which is great. We're excited about that, and they're going to buy essentially the farmhouse currently on the property. And so my wife and I, we are going to build another house, and with the market the way it is and how expensive things are, it's just a little nerve-wracking, and I personally do not want to go into more debt. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with.
Okay, so they are building, they're going to buy a house from you on the farm. How many acres is the farm?
Yes, sir. We have 26 acres.
Okay, so you're going to sell them a portion of the farm that has a house on it?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Okay, and so how many acres are you selling them?
Well, so the way we're actually going to do it, they don't want to be on the deed. So they're just essentially going to, as long as it checks out with my CPA, from what we understand, they're just going to gift us the money. And it's kind of it's just an agreement that we're going to take care of them as they get older, and they're, obviously they're going to help us with our kids and stuff like that. So they're about at retirement age. Mom-in-law just retired, so dad-in-law, he's got one more year to go, and then he's done. So they're going to gift us basically what the house is worth, and then we're going to take that cash and probably build another house. And
you live in a home in town?
No, sir. We live on the farm.
Oh, you already are on the farm?
We are on the farm.
Is there two houses on the farm, or they're moving in with you while you build?
They are going to be in the house with us while we build. Yes, sir.
Oh, this sounds fun. Not.
Oh, we've done it. We've done it before. I was in the military. I mean, we moved around a lot. We had to stay at their house for good chunks of time. So as we transitioned to different places.
Okay, so how much money is involved? How much money are they going to give you?
So we're and this is kind of we haven't got the house actually appraised. We're gonna do it fairly, so we'll actually get it appraised. But we're thinking just between my father-in-law and I, we were thinking $250 for the house is what it'll probably value at.
Does your wife have siblings?
Yes, she has a brother.
Okay. Because he's giving up an asset of $250,000 for no asset. He just reduced his net worth. So, are we going to give the sibling $250,000 extra in the estate plan, or how are we evening this out?
Exactly. That's going to come out through his life insurance.
Okay.
Whenever
so this is an advance on the estate plan, and in return, you're going to give. So the way you would legally do this is you would give them a life estate to the house.
Right.
And I would carve it out and have it on a separate plat, so that they have a life estate to that plat, not to your whole freaking farm.
Right.
Okay. And so you need to put an acre, or, with a driveway around it and that kind of stuff, so that they have their own place and they have a life estate. It remains yours, but they have the use of it as long as they are alive.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes, sir.
that's what and it would be a legal document. And you need to do it properly because you're going to get in trouble if you don't. Now, they can do that with a unified estate tax credit. Remember that phrase, unified estate tax credit, without any gift tax.
Okay.
And so that their CPA or their estate planner, better yet, can show them how to do that.
Right.
The thing that scares me about the whole thing is if this goes sideways for some reason, there's no escape plan.
Right. Yeah, I mean we're Christians. We don't believe.
Yeah, I know. I understand. But Christians have stupid crap happen in their life too.
Sure. Yes,
okay.
Sir. Yeah.
And so I don't know what happens here, and I have no idea. But I've just seen a lot of things go wrong because I've been doing this a long time, and there's no exit strategy here. If everybody decides that you're going to live next door to the people that hate me now for whatever reason that they decided to hate me. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm just trying to be bizarre enough and cause you to think this through, because the only way you've thought this through is if everything is Skittles and rainbows.
Sure. I mean, we've my wife and I, and we've had conversations like this with them, and I mean, we're pretty confident that.
Yeah, you're confident enough to move in with them. I get it. Okay, let them move in with you. But I think you think this is going to work. As a matter of fact, I think you know it's going to work. But I'm just saying there's on the 2% probability that somebody loses their freaking mind in this equation, I need a better legal structure. Otherwise, you're going to have somebody's going to have a life estate to your land that lives next door that's in dementia or something and is shooting across the field at your cows. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, there's people do crazy crap, okay? So
yes, sir.
Is there a rush on this?
Is there a rush? She said.
Well, no, there's no. I mean, obviously, when their house is already sold, so they're within a month they will be on the farm with us, and so I mean, we don't have a building yet. We haven't paid any money towards the builder or anything like that. So. We have time, that is for sure, and that's why I'm calling, because it's kind of a funky situation, right? So,
Well, maybe before you commit to doing the official transfers and officially committing to this long term, maybe you just take a little time to live together and see how that goes. See if things pan out the way that you're thinking and you really enjoy living on the farm together, because that is, like Dave said, a huge commitment and a very long-term commitment.
Yeah. I think you can do it. If you want, the tactical way to do it is the estate plan, the life estate to the property, and it needs to be platted out. The 2 acres in the house or whatever it is platted out with its own access, its own driveway or whatever, which might be an easement. I don't know. But a life estate and a unified estate tax credit dodges the gift tax issue. And so that's the way you can legally pull this off. And then you guys have just got to really talk through what happens if things go wrong here. What happens if you want to sell because life changes? Well, you really can't, because they live on the property and the title is clouded. You've carved off this separate idea, this separate platted piece, which is what I'm telling you to do. Well, then you could sell the other acreage around it, and they would be left, you'd own a house with the 4 acres or 2 acres or whatever you left with them, as long as they're alive, and then when they're alive, that they have access to as long as they're alive. So that's a reason for carving it out. I mean, there's all kinds of weird things happen in people's lives, and we don't anticipate them, we don't see them coming. So you have to lay out things that work in bad times and work in good times. And if it only works for Skittles and rainbows, it scares me. So you got to have something going on. So, good call, sir. We appreciate you calling. So, Christina, this is like the a miniature version of that is when someone calls me and says, "Hey, my fiance and I are getting ready to buy a house together," and I yell into the phone, "No," because I have talked to more than one in 30 years that the fiance died.
Ouch.
And now you own a house with your fiance's dad and mom. Because, by the way, we didn't do a will, of course. And so her half, his half, the person who passed away's half, is now in their heir's name, since there wasn't a will. And it goes, so their mom and dad, now with your dead fiance, parents. I mean, you talk about awkward crud. But it's all, we were just going to buy a house together, and then and it doesn't happen very often. It's a 1% of the time thing, or a 0.5% of the time. But I've seen this, and I've seen, or more often than that, they break up. Now they own a house with their ex, and then they get married, and now the new husband or the new wife owns a house with the ex-fiance. Half. This is the unintended consequences but we're Christians. It doesn't matter. Christians have crap happen, okay? So, you just have to think through all your worst case scenarios and have an exit strategy.
Right. You don't want to bury yourself deep in problems.
Yeah, literally. And I don't think that's going to happen with them. I hope it doesn't happen to them. But if weird stuff happens, man, I hope they have a plan. This is The Ramsey Show. Dave here. You can find all of our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. It's the only place to listen to the entire back catalog of episodes. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. About 20 years ago, I was in a Bible study with a bunch of guys, and we were really reading different books as we came across them. And one of the guys brought a book in there, and I read it, and it has become one of my top 5 or 10 favorite books I have ever read, not counting the Bible. And so much so that the author and I started talking about it on the radio show, and the author and I became good friends. And for 20 plus years, or around 20 years now, we were trying to count it up at lunch. It's around 20 years. We've been friends and been sharing ideas and doing things for each other. And but it all grew out of my love for his writing and for this book. The book is Thou Shalt Prosper. I actually wrote the foreword for the reissuing of the second edition of it. It's the 10 Commandments of Making Money. Rabbi Daniel Lapin is a Orthodox Jewish rabbi, and he has taught me a lot about the Bible, and I've helped him with a few things here and there too. And so we've learned a lot together over these 20 years, and I wanted to be sure to share him with you. Thou shalt prosper, the 10 Commandments of Making Money. It's the 10 reasons that the Jewish people in every culture that they find themselves in have an inordinate tendency to prosper. And the 10 reasons are a good jumping off point, and there are a lot of reasons that you and I have overlapped over the years.
Yes.
Because we're brothers from a different mother in that sense, right?
Well, in the sense that I think we both see Scripture as God's message to mankind.
And it does change everything. So I want to talk about a couple of things in Thou Shalt Prosper. It's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on. I knew you were in town, and I said, hey, be sure and come by if you're in town, because we want to hang out for a little bit and make sure our current audience is learning about Rabbi Daniel Lapin. Even during this 20-year period of time, we've seen a deterioration of this view of business or view of success. The success has become, there's an enemy.
Yeah.
There's a war on success, particularly a war on business. All business is evil. All rich people are evil. All successful people are evil. And it's gotten and social media has hyped it up even more, and less mature voices, more ridiculous voices have added to this war on success, and with this idea that business executives are overpaid, they're greedy, and all of this, that the rich don't pay their fair share, and that runs contrary to a Jewish belief system.
Yes, very much so. And it's precisely that Jewish belief system that has created what you alluded to earlier is disproportionate Jewish success with money. But in as much as you also said earlier, brothers from a different mother and the connection, it also lies at the heart of what Max Weber wrote about 100 years ago, which is the Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism. It's not an accident that that is what has created wealth in what we think of as the West. But in practical terms, what has happened in the country at the moment, certainly in this country and also in many other countries, is that there has been a collapse of an understanding of the spiritual. Now, I just want to make absolutely clear that when I say spiritual, I'm speaking from the point of view of my background as a physicist, not as my background as a rabbi. So when I say spiritual, I don't mean holy or godly or anything at all. I mean, there's good spiritual, there's bad. Spiritual just means things that you cannot measure in a lab. And so a violin or a saxophone are physical. I can measure their weight and how long they are. A tune is indistinguishable from a noise, according to any laboratory instrument. What converts vibrating air molecules into a tune that can make you happy and make you dance or make men march off to war or bring a lump to your throat, all of that happens between our ears, in our brains, in our hearts, in our souls. And so music is spiritual, a musical instrument is physical. And so the key question becomes, what is money? Is it discs of metal or strips of colored paper? Or how about it's the orientation of iron oxide molecules on the magnetic stripe behind your credit card, or zeros and ones on your financial institution's computer? What is money? And it's a really important question, because if it's physical, then it corresponds to the laws of physics. And one of the immutable laws of physics is that something can only be in one place at a time. And so this book right here is now here with me. And if I turn away a moment and I turn back and it's now with you, you took my book. There's no other solution. But if I teach you a tune and you go away here with my tune, you've taken nothing away from me. Spiritual things can be in more than one place at a time. Physical things can't. And that's where it gets critical. Because if money is physical, then if you have a few dollars, you must have taken it from other people. You see, socialists, secularists, atheists don't comprehend the idea of making money. They understand taking of money. It's a very, very different thing. And the whole idea that money can come into existence as spontaneously as a tune can is alien. And so, I could sit in a room all by myself and compose a tune and then send it off as an MP3 file to my publisher, and my publisher markets it and starts collecting royalties, and he can then order a caterer to send a meal to my room, and I've produced something concrete and tangible and physical in the form of a meal in my room, come about purely because of a spiritual act of creativity. And so what's happened is, over the last 20 years that you and I have been talking, there has been a marked deterioration in people's comprehension of spiritual. Hugely important for everybody trying to make a living, everybody trying to build a business, because a good number of the decisions that we make in life, particularly financial decisions, are made for spiritual, not physical or utilitarian reasons. And so when a certain lady I know very well, whose name I will not reveal, drives across town because her little app shows her gasoline costs less in another place, the fact that I explained to her, it's not worth your time, it's not worth the wear and tear on the car, just buy the gasoline wherever it is. She says, no, I can't do that. Well, she grew up in New York. She can't do anything else. That's a spiritual thing. When a person pays more money for a pair of jeans that's got a funny label on it, why?
Spiritual.
It's all, these are all spiritual reasons.
Well, I love that phrase. There's the difference in making money. Making money means creating.
You
money.
create it out of nothing.
Out of wealth.
That's where
out
money.
Of creativity.
That is where money comes
out of
from.
Service.
Yes.
Rather than taking.
You know, everyone says the fixed pie, right?
Yeah.
It's not a fixed pie.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. The fixed pie is a beautiful, beautiful metaphor that we need to unpack. Rabbi Daniel Lappin, my guest this hour on The Ramsey Show. If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular, and roller shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com. My good friend Rabbi Daniel Lapin is in town, and he is a treasure, as you are discovering, listening to us. His book is Thou Shalt Prosper. Check out everything he has at RabbiDanielLapin.com, RabbiDanielLapin.com, and he's known as America's Rabbi. A noted rabbinic scholar, best-selling author, TV host, eloquent speaker. We've spoken together many times on stages across America in many different locations. Sometimes I'm there one week, he's there the next week. Sometimes he's on one of our events and all kinds of other things. And before we jump back into this discussion, I want to make sure we touch on this project you're working on, scrolling through the scriptures.
Yes. Yeah.
And because it's fascinating. So, and they can learn about it at RabbiDanielLapin.com. But briefly, what is scrolling through the scriptures?
It's the realization that this book is not an anachronistic history book about events long gone and about nations no longer existent. It is actually a technical instruction manual on how to most effectively live on planet Earth. And that means being healthy physically. It means having friends. It means having a rewarding and fulfilling family life. And it means having a relationship with money. And it means having a relationship with God. And there is very practical instruction on enhancing one's lives in those 5 areas embedded within the Hebrew text. Now, the problem is most people can't read Hebrew, of course, but that's why I like saying everybody needs a rabbi. And of
even
course,
us Christians,
especially, that's right. And you know, I hate the idea of unemployment, so I submit my candidacy for the position of your rabbi. And so what we do is we make everything accessible. In using some amazing technology, we make the actual instruction, that which has made Jews disproportionately good with money, as you said earlier, in every place and in every time of history, in hospitable countries and in tyrannical regimes, Jews have always done well with money. And the information on that lies embedded in the Hebrew scripture. And scrolling through scripture is a program that walks somebody who has no background in the Hebrew, basically a guided tour into the wondrous garden of Hebraic information that not only makes Jews disproportionately successful, but it actually had a lot to do with why the United States of America has become history's greatest engine of prosperity, because the founders, even going back as far as William Bradford as one of the Pilgrims, they knew Hebrew, and they knew and were able to understand and extract practical, life-giving information from that Hebrew text. Never been done before. This is the very first time we've done a scrolling through scripture program.
So find all of that at RabbiDanielLapin.com. You will be richly rewarded, I promise. All right, talk about one of my favorite riffs is candles and cakes.
Yeah, well, it's the same as musical instruments and music and tunes. And that is that money is brought into existence when one of God's children does something for another. Now, we can use the right terminology. We can call it marketing. We can call it sales.
We can call it service.
We can call it service, and there's a reason why we have a worship service, and we also say customer service. Those two are related, and we can look at our financial statements as a detached and vitally important set of data as to how our business is doing. But what is important not to lose track of is that at its root, it's service to another human being. If that doesn't happen, you don't have a business. In the same way that we'd say if you do not have profit, you don't actually have a business.
You have a hobby.
You have a hobby. That's right. That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah.
If your revenue isn't more than your expenses, you do not have a business.
But the socialist fallacy is, like you said earlier, if I take the book, you don't have the book, and so they look at the economy as cake.
Yes.
That if you get a bigger slice, that means there's not as much left for me. And you have taken,
yes,
rather than made.
Correct.
And that distinction in the first segment was vital. And you say that is not how the economy works.
Well, I put it this way: there are two ways of getting money into your pocket. One way is by serving another human being. It might be a customer, a client, a boss, anybody. Another way is using a .357 Magnum revolver. Now, somebody who decides to get money that way comes home from work at the end of the day, and his wife says, "Honey, how was your day?" He says, "Not bad, did okay." She says, "How much did you take?" And he says, I held up 3 people. I took a total of about $150 and some odd change. That's one way of getting money. And the other way is actually serving other human beings who then give money to you voluntarily. And the essence of business is also the essence of being a good human being, which is finding ways to please other human beings. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing to do. And it's limitless, absolutely limitless. That's why the idea of the cake example is so fallacious. There's only so much cake. You took too much, you got all kinds of things. Must be you took it from me. This generates envy and unpleasantness and recrimination and basically breaks apart a society, which is what we see happening. It's not an accident that no atheistic regime has ever succeeded in building an effective economy. It can't happen. That's why we have the words "In God We Trust," not on the walls of churches, but on the currency.
Mm. So instead of cake, it's candles.
Candles. You can light your candle from my burning candle. You've taken nothing from me. You've just brought more light into the world.
It's the Christmas Eve service.
Yes.
When I light your candle, you light another candle, you light another candle, you light another candle, and the whole place is lit up now. And it started dark, but no one was diminished.
That's right.
By passing their light along. And by passing the service along, you're not diminished if you view money correctly, because it is, that's why they call it a currency, is because it is a current.
Yes.
It is not a fixed item.
Great point.
It's not a fixed item.
Right.
So changing gears just a second before we run out of this segment, because I want to be sure to get as much of your wisdom as I can get.
Thank you.
One of the things you've said recently that has jived again with something that I believe is you said that a completely different subject, that leaders who are not willing to engage in confrontation are not leaders.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Yeah, of course, people don't like hearing that because today the whole, toxic masculinity, and after all, it's masculine to be willing to confront, et cetera, and so there's this huge attack on this. But look, I think the first thing to recognize is, who is the biggest villain in your life? Who has caused you more aggravation through all your life than anybody else? Who is it who has obstructed you at every turn, who's made life difficult for you? I got a clue. His name is on your driving license.
He's in your mirror.
Yes.
She's in your mirror.
Exactly. So the most important thing is to be able to confront yourself. And, pop psychology keeps telling us, worry about your self-esteem. I'm terrific. Everything I'm doing is... No, you screwed up. Stop doing that. It isn't any good. So being able to confront yourself obviously is a very crucial step in building a business and developing financial independence and financial peace. Everybody knows they shouldn't spend more than they make. So now that knowledge is there, why are you still around? Why do we need you? You've told us what to do. And the answer is information is not enough. There has to be inspiration as well. And that is the spiritual dimension.
Absolutely. Pat Lencioni talks about in his book, The Advantage, that a company that creates a corporate culture of healthy conflict
has
a brand advantage over any other company that does any other thing. You beat smart people.
That's a great point.
You beat people smarter than you every time if you can have a mentally healthy organization that does healthy conflict, and leaders that will not create healthy conflict for the good of progress are not real leaders. And they're just acquiescing. And you get a Neville Chamberlain event when you have just acquiescing.
That's right.
And that will birth a Churchill.
Yeah.
That's what it'll do. So, wow. It happens on the world stage, and it happens in our little businesses and in our little lives.
It's so relevant. Yeah.
Rabbi Daniel Lapin, the book is Thou Shalt Prosper. Check out his website, rabbidaniellapin.com, and please enjoy scrolling through the scriptures. You will be glad I introduced you to my friend of 20 years. This is The Ramsey Show. Look, I love real estate, and I want you to have a house, but I don't want a house to have you. That's why you need to get in touch with Churchill Mortgage to make sure you do this right. These guys are awesome. They'll help you get on a smarter mortgage plan because they're committed to doing what's right for you. That means they check in every year with free consultations to help you stay on the right plan. They show you how to save money and interest so you can build wealth faster. They walk you through the total cost of your loan so you can make the best choice. Basically, they care. That's why we call them Ramsey Trusted. You can achieve debt-free home ownership, and Churchill is here to help. Go to their site, churchillmortgage.com/Ramsey, to start your approval or get more information. Christina Ellis, best-selling author, Ramsey personality, is my co-host today. Imagine the energy of a jam-packed arena filled with people ready to experience what it means to live life to the fullest. Picture all your favorite speakers together on one stage, empowering you with the tools and the principles that create unstoppable momentum in your life. That is Smart Conference. Yep, Smart Conference is back, baby. Been 3 years, and we're pumped to get the event back on the road. It's time for us to be on the road again. Dallas, we're headed your way. Saturday, October the 22nd. The headlining speakers this year will be Rachel Cruz, Dr. John Deloney, Ken Coleman, George Camel, and Christina Ellis to my right, plus our own friends, our good friends Craig and Amy Groeschel from Life Church will be joining us talking about marriage. In just one day, you're going to get advice about every area of your life: money, personal growth, leadership, mental health, your career. It's not another pep talk. You're going to leave smart. That's why we call it Smart Conference. Tickets are only $39. It's a great price for a full-day event like this. As you know, all kinds of live events, concerts, and sporting events are selling out very quickly because human beings like being around other human beings, it turns out. So, hey, we're going to be doing this big thing, and there's not a lot of tickets left. If you want to come, it's in Dallas, and you don't want to miss it, October 22nd. $39 at RamseySolutions.com. On the debt-free stage in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions, Randy and Jennifer are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Better than we deserve, Dave. How about yourself?
Better than I deserve. Where do you guys live?
Coshocton, Ohio. It's about an hour east of Columbus.
Cool. Welcome to Nashville. How much debt did you pay off?
On the plan, about $37,000. Just before that, we kind of realized we were house poor, so we got rid of almost $200,000 in mortgage before that.
Okay. All right. That's part of the story. So how long did it take to pay the $37,000 off?
About 12 months.
Good for you. And your range of income during that time?
We started about 55, and when we did our taxes for 21, we ended up about 96.
Okay, 55 to 96. All right, cool. Good for you. Well done. I love it. What kind of debt was the $37,000?
30 of it was a 401k loan, and the other 7 was medical miscellaneous here and there.
Okay, cool. So tell me your story. What got you guys started on this 12 months ago?
So I had always struggled with money. We made, pretty decent money, but I did a budget in Excel, and it didn't work, and it just never worked. I was always really stressed, and finally we just I was honest enough to say, I think we have too much house, so we worked on that. And then a friend of ours gave us the Total Money Makeover workbook. Just kind of started reading through that, and it made sense. And I'm very analytical, plan oriented, and I saw.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I saw a plan that sounded like it would work, and talked to my wife about it, and we just kind of got on it.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, good for you guys. That's pretty cool.
I think for me, the hard part was I went from being homeless to then we were together and me having nothing. And so a hard part for me was literally just getting to the point where it's like, it's okay to get rid of the cards.
I'm sorry. So before you all were married, you were literally homeless?
Yes.
And how long have you been married?
We've been married now 10 years, but we were together for 12.
Okay, so you were homeless literally on the streets. You get married, and then a few years later, this new husband sells your house?
No. We decided to get the home.
Wait a minute, I'm going to choke him.
That was hard for me. That was really hard. Like, we had made the plan to get this home because we have 7 kids, and all of them were kind of here and there coming in and out because some are older, some are younger. And so for me, it was like, well, I never want my kids to go through being homeless.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah.
So that was the hard part.
So there was there's a lot of history here, and the way you started describing it, Randy, at the start was just this sense of hopelessness.
Yeah, very, very much so. It just I couldn't figure out why it didn't work because the math looked good, but now that we got into every dollar now, and looking back, I was putting numbers on a page, but it wasn't an accurate, honest budget. There was just a bunch of extra stuff in there that every dollar helped me kind of work through and actually put names to everything and kind of square us all up.
That's amazing. Your story is so powerful. I love that your mind shifted, you guys went for it, and now you're good at money. So what would you say?
Here we are.
Yeah, here you are. What was the key to getting out of debt for y'all?
Use the program. That's for sure. Definitely use the program. The every dollar helped me just to be able to see where we were at, and we linked up our bank accounts to it. And so, like, he has a budget now, like, okay, honey, it's okay to get your nails done. It's okay to get your hair done every once in a while. And so just knowing where I'm at in that, it really does help a lot.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Gave you a communication tool to pull together then.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think for me, the plan gave us a lot of tools, but I woke up one day and I decided that we're gonna make something happen. I wasn't sure how, and that's what the plan did for us. But I had to decide that we were gonna do something different.
Yeah. And now you sold the expensive house, but you bought another house.
Yes.
We did.
Because I'm making sure you're not homeless.
Oh no, okay. No, I'm never going back to that again.
No, and actually the 401k loan was for
fixing up the house that we bought.
Yeah, the other half of the house. So her dad passed. We got some money there. Put it with our 401k loan. We actually paid cash for the house we have now.
Oh wow!
So
you are 100% debt free. House and everything.
We are.
Congratulations, baby. Step 7, baby. Whoop whoop.
Absolutely.
Looking at weird people. Yeah, you guys are amazing. Congratulations. Very good.
Yeah,
Very
for
good.
all the people who think that they are bad at money, who think that they can't do it, what would you tell them?
Be honest. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because that's what it took for me. Just kind of a circle of a couple friends, and we were all just kind of talking about it. We were talking about investing here and nuts and bolts stuff there, and it didn't really click. But once, I got the Total Money Makeover book, and it laid out a very clear plan that it just made perfect sense, and we were just off to the races.
Yeah. Way to go, guys. We're very proud of you. You're amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Who was cheering you on?
I think that same circle of friends, Tony and Melissa, they're the ones that gave us a couple wealth books, but the workbook was in one of them.
Your mom? I would say your mom.
Yeah, my mom for sure. She kept cheering us on.
Yeah.
She thought it was a good idea to have some common sense in her family, huh?
She did.
I think one thing that really helped, and I know this sounds kind of crazy, but when he got deployed, that helped a lot because we were able to get his regular income plus the deployment pay on top of it to just knock everything out at once.
So you're National Guard, Randy?
I'm part of the State Defense Force in Ohio. It's the Ohio Military Reserve. But yeah, I very much lucked out because when I was on active duty, the state pays me as a soldier, but my employer never stopped my paycheck either. So we got very fortunate there, and that helped us just absolutely knock through 3.
Yeah, it is fortunate, but it's not luck.
Right.
It's called serving your country, and people appreciated it, including your employer. Way to go, employer. Yeah. Who's your boss? Who's your employer?
At that point, it was TS Tech in Reynoldsburg.
Way to go, guys. Yeah, way to go. Support your people, man. That's good stuff.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Well, way to go, you guys. We got a copy of the Baby Steps Millionaires book for you. That's the next chapter in your story for sure. You're going to be there. And also a copy of Total Money Makeover. You can give it away and stir up a ruckus for somebody else.
Absolutely.
You never know. That'll be perfect. Well done.
I will say one thing that has really been nice, even just coming here. I mean, this is amazing, but we were able to do some things that I never thought that we would be able to do. And the whole time, like, we were going through things and we're like, it doesn't matter. Like, we already had it budgeted. We already have that money. We don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
For us to just go and be like, hey, Jack Daniels, how about a $200 bottle of wine?
This is the first vacation ever that I haven't been sitting at the end of the day just crunching numbers and figuring out if we're still okay or if we need to start skimping down.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, when you don't have a house payment or anything, you can afford the Jack Daniels.
Absolutely.
Way to go, you guys. All right, Randy and Jennifer, Columbus, Ohio area, $37,000 paid off in 12 months, but quite a story, making $55,000 to $96,000. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
Yeah! I love it! This is The Ramsey Show. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. Find out for yourself why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Free samples, free shipping, and the new promos they run all the time. You'll save even more. Always use the magic word, the promo code Ramsey, to get the best deal.
Today's question comes from Phoebe in Duluth. I am 21 years old and working on getting my teacher's certificate. I work 3 part-time jobs so I can graduate debt-free. I recently got engaged, and my fiance is currently in undergraduate school with a plan to go to med school after we get married. His parents are currently putting him through undergrad school so that he will graduate debt-free as well. Our plan is that while he is in med school, I will work full-time and he will work part-time. We'll start paying off his med school student loans before he even graduates. My question is, what can I do now to keep the student loans to a minimum and start to save money? That's a great question, Phoebe. There are so many things that you do, and I love talking about this topic. Of course, my go-to is always scholarships. I was able to win over $500,000 and just put myself out there constantly, treat it like a part-time job.
How hard is it to find a scholarship for med school?
It's harder than undergrad, which is challenging, but they're still out there and often called fellowships, or there are specific programs that have benefits and are a bit cheaper than others. So I always encourage people to dig deep. I feel like so many people instantly say, it's med school, there's no scholarships out there for that, and that's just not true. But
I got accepted here, but these are the place, and no matter what it costs, I got to go because I got accepted here.
Right.
And that could be triple the cost of another med school.
Right. And how often do you check your doctor's credentials?
None of the time.
Right.
I've never gone to a doctor and said, no, you really can't take that mole off of my head because you went to the wrong school. It never came up.
Right. You didn't go to an Ivy League, so I'm out.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. Right. So you got to think outside of the box, be willing to bend and be flexible. I mean, especially with med school, we're talking potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. So be willing to look outside of even your state if it's a bit cheaper. Be flexible. Be willing to be strategic.
Well, for $200,000, would you move? Yes.
Yes.
Temporarily to go to med school in another town? You bet you would. You would lift your tail end up and go. I mean, it's, you got a fellowship. The MD, PhD programs they work like a fellowship, and that's a way to go through med school. They're very hard to get into. It's a very elite class that goes to that, and that is very much grade-based and very much academics-based and so on. But man, the Duke has one as an example that their med school, but if you can get into those, you go free. And by the way, the military will send you through free.
Yep. That's definitely a great way to look at it. We've talked to several military doctors who sometimes there's a service commitment, but if it helps you graduate debt-free and you get experience, that's like a double win. But I love the way that they're thinking. I love the way that even at 21 years old, Phoebe is already thinking through, how can we plan this out? Because that's part of the problem is so many people are not looking ahead. They're just thinking, this is the degree I need right now. This is the path that I have, and I'm going to do it at all costs. But the fact that she's stopping and saying, hey, we want to do this in the future, but we're going to be really strategic at every step of the way is huge. That's not what a lot of 21-year-olds are doing right now.
Well, and one of the things I learned to do about the whole debt subject in general is just say, okay, I don't borrow money.
Period.
Now what? And if you take it as an option, take away the option of it, and you go, well, I just can't go if I don't figure this out. You suddenly start figuring out a way to, you find a way to do it then. But if you go, well, I'm just going to limit the pain. I'm going to limit my level of stupidity. I agree with you. I really like that they're looking ahead and that they're 21 years old. But I would challenge you to treat it like you can't go unless you find a way.
Right. Well, and that's part of my story is so many people look back and they're like, were you trying to go debt free? Did you have this big strategy to avoid student loans? And honestly, my mom was an immigrant from Venezuela. We didn't even know about student loans when we started the journey. I thought if I was going to go to college, if I was going to go to school, that I had to figure out a way to pay for it, either
Which
with
means
cash.
You go figure out a way to pay for it then.
Right.
That's the only option.
There was no other option.
Yeah. And so we do meet people that come through here from time to time. And I will admit they're fairly rare. They're harder to find than undergrad. But I meet people that have graduated from law school and people that have graduated from med school several times a year, debt-free, and it wasn't parents paid for. They figured out a way to get someone, whether it's scholarships, fellowships, whether it's MD, PhD programs, whether they sign on with a hospital, whether they sign on with the National Guard, whatever it is they're doing, they find a way to not be $300,000 in debt when they come out of med school. And they start their life with a big income, potentially, but in a big hole.
Right. And that's the thing that I think they sell a lot of times with degrees in general is they say, you're going to have this huge income, so obviously you're going to be able to pay it off. It's no big deal, but that's just not true. We saw in Borrowed Future the orthodontist who had $1 million in student loans. And even though he had a great income, that was hard to pay off. He was overwhelmed. He was in tears. Even though the income was huge, with that amount of debt, it is stressful.
I was in tears and it wasn't even my debt. It's unbelievable, man. The poor guy. It was just heartbreaking. So, hey, that's the thing. So kudos to you, Phoebe, for looking ahead, as Christina said, and studying. But we're challenging you to even go one step further and be radical and say, okay, let's just take the idea of debt away as even an option. Now what are we going to do? 3 heartbeats later, your brain kicks in, and the lump drops out of your throat, and you go figure out a way to do it. And I'm going to challenge you to do that because people are able to do this. And let me tell you, 100% of the people that start med school do not graduate. They don't have a 100% graduation rate.
Ooh. Could you imagine taking out that debt
and then not making it? And then not making it? This is, everything's not rainbow and Skittles, baby. This is how this works. All right. Amanda's with us in Washington, D.C. Hi, Amanda. How are you?
Hi. Thank you so much for taking the call.
Sure.
We inherited a home worth $400,000 in 2009 that we used as a rental property, and we sold it last year for $425,000. We contacted our CPA before we sold it, and he was told we would only be taxed on the capital gains of the $20,000 difference.
That's correct.
So we just got we were really shocked. We just got a tax bill for $52,000 for depreciation recapture.
Oh, well,
which
there's
we
that.
had never heard of.
Okay. So
So
you
now-
depreciated the property while you were there, while you had it.
Yes, exactly. And so we're 40 years old. Our oldest is finishing 6th grade. We're
Wait a
trying
minute.
to figure out if we-
You sold the house for
Yes.
$400,000. Where'd that money go?
We used the majority of the profit to pay down our current mortgage.
Okay, so how much money do you have in the bank now?
We don't have any. Well, we have our emergency fund of $35,000.
Okay, you didn't have a $52,000 tax bill. You had a $52,000 increase in income that they charged you taxes on.
From the depreciation over 12 years of owning the property. So we're trying to know if we should use our emergency
So
fund.
the tax bill is
or
$50 grand?
Yes. $52,000
And you have $35,000 to your name.
for our emergency fund.
Oh, where
yes.
else do you have money?
We have money in retirement, but as far as
Do you have any money that's not in
liquid
retirement?
assets, no, our liquid assets are the emergency fund.
What's your household income?
My husband is a nurse. So he picks up as many extra shifts as he can. He works about an hour away. And so he approximately, when he's able to work 4 to 5 days a week, he brings home approximately $6,000 a month.
Okay, he's going to be working a little more. I'm putting the $35,000 on this, and I'm going to put the rest of it on payment plan with the IRS, and I'm going to pay it. I'll go get I'll take out a home equity loan for the balance. You're already in debt to the IRS. I'm just restructuring your debt to a different kind of debt. I'm not telling you to borrow money, but you're in debt. So put $35,000 on it, borrow the rest on a home equity loan, and pay it off in 3 months. And your husband works 24/7. This is the Ramsey Show. Dave here. You can find all of our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. It's the only place to listen to the entire back catalog of episodes. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today. This is The Ramsey Show.
You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career.
You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. Christina Ellis, Ramsey personality, best-selling author, is my co-host today as we take your questions about your job, your career, your relationships, your mental wellness, your money, your wealth, your whatever you want to talk about, your life. It's what we're here for. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Shadrach is in Utah. Hi, Shadrach. How are you?
Hey, Dave. I'm good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So my wife and I are we're hoping to buy a house in about 5 years. I'm a junior in college. I've also been working full-time as a software developer for a year now. And we have $30,000 saved beyond our emergency fund that we're planning to pay for a master's degree. I have a really inexpensive program, and our next car. So Our next thing is we're saving for this down payment, and we're wondering if we should put that in a Roth IRA and what the advantages and disadvantages would be.
Now, I do not use Roth IRAs to save for house down payments. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, no. I would just put it in something like an index fund, an S&P 500 fund, and let it sit there. If it's going to sit there 5 years, that's a long enough period to ride the waves of the market out. And you'll make a little money on it. The truth is that in a 5-year period of time, the amount of money that will grow or the amount of taxes you would save screwing around with a Roth or whatever it is not really what's going to get you the house. When you actually run the math out, let's say you save $50,000, okay, and it makes 10% a year. All right, that's $5,000 a year. $5,000 does not get you into the house. The $50,000 gets you into the house. And so the fact that you save money and don't spend it is where your house down payment comes from. It's not from the whoop-de-doo investment, and it's not from the whoop-de-doo tax savings. Okay, so it's not tricking the system that gets you the money. It's you putting the money in the stinking account. That's what does it. So that's how you're going to get there. Way to go, man. How old are you?
I'm 23.
Impressive. I love it. Hearing you're a junior in college and you're having that forethought is amazing. You guys are on a great track.
Yeah. And you're going to make some bank as a software engineer, man. What are you making now?
Right now I'm making about 55 as a junior developer.
Yeah.
I'm increasing that with side work, and I'm hoping after another year or so to pivot to a new role, probably at a new company, and hopefully increase that by 30 or 40K.
Oh yeah, you will. If you're Dev 1 and you keep increasing your skill level to Dev 2, Dev 3, you're gonna triple that easy, if not more, depending on the area you're in and so forth. And why are you getting a master's in this? What does that give you?
So I'm in an information systems program, and they have an integrated 5th-year master's program where I get a master's of information systems management.
What does that give you, in your world? Because, I probably got 300 developers working on my team, and I've never considered whether they have a master's or not. It never comes up in the hiring process. All I want to know is, can they do the code?
Sure. I've in talking with some people who are a few years into the field now and are looking into management positions. A few of them have expressed that it's given them a leg up on their peers who are now feeling the need to go back and get an MBA or something of the like.
Okay, if you're going into leadership and into management, then I'll go with the masters.
Right.
If you're doing this to get code, if you're doing this to do code and to be a software developer, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't waste my money.
Okay.
You see the difference? Because the master's is not going to increase your code, your ability to code, your ability to go into the upper echelon of coders.
Sure.
And start doing platform and architecture and all that. You don't need an information systems master's to do that. Your certs will do that, and hands-on work in the environment that you're already in will do that. The only reason I know this is because I have a whole bunch of them on my payroll, like millions and millions of dollars worth of them, and so I've had to learn it because I give them a lot of money. So I kind of wanted to know what the flip was going on. So that we do not hire people. Now we do have some people with graduate level degrees in leadership, and I'll go with that. That does assist you in that process, but the computer world, the information systems world, is not a postgraduate world by and large.
Right. Well, I think it's amazing that he's working at the same time. So many juniors in college are just kind of coasting still.
Well, and he's making money, too.
Right. So he's gaining experience. And it's, even if he gets that master's degree, if he keeps rising through the ranks in his job, he's going to really win when he gets in the workforce.
Absolutely. Very, very, very well done. Open phones at 888-825-5225. I understand what you're doing now. Go for it, Shadrach, by the way. I agree with you. Have at it, brother. And don't get too far ahead of yourself on buying the house. Let's get this education stuff finished, get this career going, and then we'll get over there and buy that house. But the trick to saving money for something like that on the short term is how much you put in, not how much the investment makes. I got to tell you, Christina, I'm excited about Dr. John Deloney's book coming out next week. This book we've been talking about it in pre-sale for quite a while, and this is a book that it's as if Dr. Deloney is sitting across the table from you doing personal counseling with you. When you read the book, and I've read a lot of psychology books, I love that field, and I've read a lot of them, done a little bit of post-grad work myself 1,000 years ago in that world. And I just love what he does. I love how he does it. And when I read the book, I felt like he was coaching me. It was, I got a lump in my throat. I'm like, John, so it's pretty incredible. The stuff he works with on relationships, how to have a more restful life, a peaceful life. It's financial wellness for people who aren't sick. Or if you are sick, it's okay. He'll help you with that too. But, it's like when you say mental health, sometimes people think crazy, right? And this is not like crazy. This is like we're all a little crazy, okay, kind of book. It's that we all need a little leg up. We all need a little help in relationships. We all need a little help dealing with our story from our past. And it's Own Your Past, Change Your Future. That's the title of the book. It comes out next week. It comes with 1 month of weekly free therapy sessions from the folks at BetterHelp. It comes with the audiobook version, the ebook version. It comes from all of this with $20 if you pre-order the book. You do not have but 6 days to pre-order the book. It is coming out next Tuesday. You will have missed all these free goodies. So go order the book right now. We will give you the stuff and ship it to you next week, and all for $20. And I promise you, this is going to change the way you feel, the way you look at your life in the past, the way you look at your life in the future. And it's touched everyone who's read the book, including me.
I've heard some incredible testimonials from people who thought, I'm just reading this to be nice to John, but it changed my life.
It's rocking, man.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's powerful.
RamseySolutions.com. You got to get John Deloney's new book. This is The Ramsey Show. Chaos. That's what it can feel like when your business is growing so fast you've outgrown your financial and accounting software. The faster you grow, the more likely you are to lose control of the numbers. And here's the reality. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. That's why we use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. Over 28,000 companies use NetSuite by Oracle, including Ramsey Solutions, because NetSuite gives us a single view of everything we need to make daily decisions. Whether you're making a few million to hundreds of millions a year, NetSuite gives you the visibility and control of the things you need to grow, like your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more, all in one dashboard. Go to netsuite.com/Ramsey right now to get their free white paper. Jumpstart your CFO career. Well, tax season's almost over, and some of you still haven't filed. What? Are you going to wait the last minute? You're the worst that stayed up all night doing your term paper in college, weren't you? You need to do your dadgum taxes and get them done right now. Taxes aren't fun to start, especially when you realize what some of the big tax software companies are up to. They say you can file your taxes for free, but then when you get in there, it's not really free. It was only free for the version that you didn't get. It's a problem. Hey, there's a better way to do it. Ramsey Smart Tax, and stop procrastinating. It's our own tax filing software. It's made to do one thing, and it helps you get your taxes done right. No hidden fees, no sleazy offers trying to get you into debt, no salesman will call, and you get every federal form you need up front. No gotcha charges, no upcharges, no zings. Simple. And this year, if you use the promo code TAX22, you can get an extra $25 off. It doesn't cost that much to start with. You just need to get this done. Ramsey Smart Tax. RamseySolutions.com/SmartTax to get started and file without the surprises. RamseySolutions.com/SmartTax. Andrea is with us in Wichita, Kansas. Hi, Andrea. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Well, I have a question. How can we help our son go to college if we can't pay for it?
How old is he?
He's 18. He'll be graduating next month.
Oh, wow. Okay. So like this fall, huh?
Yes.
What's he want to study?
He wants to be a chemical engineer, and in Kansas, there's only 4 colleges that offer that program, and 3 are private and 1 is a state school. So, of course, a state school is going to be the cheaper route.
Yeah, I think. Like a fourth.
Yeah.
Okay. So why does he want to be a chemical engineer?
He has always just enjoyed science, math, and chemistry is something he absolutely loves. And
how's his grades?
Program. He has almost a 4.0, 3.98. He's number 3 in the class. He did really well. And so
you're in luck. Christina Ellis is my co-host today. She found $500,000 in free scholarships, so she's going to answer your question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you said that there are 4 schools in the state. What's his current plan?
So he wants to go to K-State, and he has applied for every scholarship that he has, that he's found and that he's eligible for. So he is mad at us because we actually make too much money right now, so he doesn't qualify for a lot of scholarships. And you
don't want income-based scholarships anyway.
There are a bunch of those.
I know, but Christina got $500,000 worth, and none of them are income-based.
Oh, okay. So I guess we just need to be pointed in the right direction because what we are finding is not.
Well, I love that he's got such strong grades. A lot of schools, they list their merit-based aid on their website. So if you go to the financial aid website, they actually have it listed out how much merit-based aid. Because he's a strong student, I would encourage you to even look outside of the state and see if there are any schools where he can get really high automatic merit-based scholarships based on his GPA and test scores. Especially just being a strong student, that's just an easy first place to start. Do you know how much merit scholarships he's been offered at the 4 schools he's applied to?
$1,500.
Yeah. I would definitely look outside of the realm, look outside of the box and see if there are other schools in other states. Even just getting online and looking up, chemical engineering programs that have massive merit-based scholarships. You might be surprised. I mean, between 50 different states, if you open up your search parameters, you'll probably find a lot more options.
Where else should they look for scholarships?
I would definitely go to some scholarship databases. A lot of people go to one scholarship database and then they get discouraged because they don't find scholarships that match them. But I typically recommend people use at least 5 different scholarship databases because not every database is going to match you with all the scholarships that you are eligible for. So if you use several different databases, you can compile a list that actually applies to you. Plus, there are millions of scholarships available, so you can't take the time to apply for every single scholarship. So you want to find targeted scholarships that fit you and are within your niche. So especially with him wanting to do engineering scholarships, there are a ton of STEM-based scholarships. There's a lot of engineering-based scholarships. So I would really narrow in and search within that field of his interest and where he wants to go.
Andrea, what do you guys make?
Well, I'm a teacher. And
what's your household income? It's a simple answer.
Our household together right now is $112,000 last year.
Okay. And why are you broke?
Because we were dumb and tried to live with the Joneses and we have about $76,000 in debt with our student loans.
So you guys are working to clean up your mess, is what it amounts to right now.
Yes,
Okay,
we are.
that's
So
fair.
we're on baby step 2.
That's fair.
And-
Okay, now here's what I think happened, and you tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
I think an 18-year-old wandered into the freaking FAFSA nightmare,
Yes.
filling out those forms, and whatever dropped in his lap he took. And what drops in his lap is student loans, the first thing they gave him on the merit-based, and a bunch of Pell Grants that he doesn't qualify for, and then he called it a day and walked away.
Yes, he's pretty nervous.
Yeah, zero perseverance.
Well, he has been trying to apply to scholarships that we've heard of it,
Okay.
but we just
Yeah, but it doesn't. You can't apply to 3.
yes.
You got to apply to 133.
Okay.
Okay. And the other thing is this: I'm okay. I don't think it's lacking in manhood on his part for his mom and dad at 18 years old to put their arms around him and even go over to K-State and sit down with him and go, "Hey, we're about to send this kid somewhere else, and he's a freaking almost 4.0 because you bozos hadn't stepped up." And meet with the counselors over there and just jack them up a little bit. And you may find 10 grand in one conversation.
Oh, okay.
Do that, and then I want you to be his biggest cheerleader. One of the things Christina had was a mom who gently or sometimes not so gently encouraged her to fill out a scholarship application every freaking day.
Okay.
And was like her accountability partner and was up in her grill about it.
I can do that.
And that's what I kind of think this kid's out there wandering around, doesn't know what to do by himself, and I think he would benefit for you to distribute some of your strength to him.
Absolutely. Well, and a lot of people feel like they're applying for a ton of scholarships, and whenever I boil it down, it's often like 10 or 20, and then they get discouraged that they didn't win any scholarships based on 20 applications. And it's like, I want you applying.
How many did you apply for?
I got very fortunate. I applied for a little bit over 50, but now I recommend kids to apply for hundreds of scholarships. The market has gotten so much more competitive. It's like, put yourself out there. I saw a stat recently, and it's like, I believe it's like students win 1 in every 20 scholarships that they apply for. So it's like, if you have applied for 10, you're not even in the running right now.
Yeah,
like, you got to up that. Plus,
if you already got one out of your 20, then you need to do 20 more, and then you get another one, and that's the averages.
There you go.
So that's the kind of stuff we're pushing for. The last thing is this. K-State's not that expensive. Junior can work while he's in school. I mean, you can make serious money walking dogs. You can make serious money cutting grass. You can make serious money delivering pizzas, and you can work. It's not child abuse to work. Well, he's in chemical engineering. It's difficult. It's difficult to be broke, too. It's difficult to be in debt, too. Work is not child abuse. As a matter of fact, when I'm hiring here at Ramsey, and our team is hiring here at Ramsey, it's not me, it's somebody else doing it here, but somebody who's actually worked while they're in school, they get an A in the hiring process. Someone who's never had a freaking job but is really, really smart, it's a little more of a risk because we might be the first person who actually teach them to work. And that's a scary thing. And this is what employers really look at in the real freaking world here.
well, and there are stats out there that actually say that kids who work in college do better grade-wise, which is a win-win. I mean, they're walking away with work experience, plus their grades are better.
No time to play beer pong.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. That's how that works. Who knew? Yeah, this kid's a good kid. He's smart. Anybody looking at chemical engineering, he's probably not a problem like I was. But, but yeah, get up there with him. You guys walk through this. I'm going to send you a book, Debt-Free Degree by Anthony O'Neill. That's a Ramsey Press book. It's going to help you with this and get you going, give you some angles. And thank you so much for calling, Andrea. You can do this. It's just going to require some effort, and it's less effort than paying off the student loans if he took them out after he graduated. This is The Ramsey Show. Christina Ellis, best-selling author and Ramsey personality, is my co-host today in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. Rasa is with us. Hey, Rasa, how are you?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. Where do you live?
During my debt-free journey, I was in Philadelphia.
In Philly. Where are you today?
I am a digital nomad, so I've been traveling.
Digital nomad?
Yes. Whoa.
So you live on the internet?
I Airbnb hop.
I'm kidding. Okay. You became an avatar.
I did.
I never met one. Okay.
I'm not blue.
All right. How much debt did you pay off, kiddo?
$64,000.
$64K. And how long did that take you?
About 2 years and 11 months.
2 years and 11 months.
Yep.
Very, very good. And what was your range of income during that time?
About $60,000, and my OTE this year is $160,000.
So 60 to 160.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice nomading. Well done, nomad. So what do you do for a living?
I'm in customer success with a tech firm.
Okay. All right. So, and you can do all of that remote.
I can.
Which allows you to just travel the world.
It does.
So, and today camping out in Nashville to do a debt-free scream. I like it.
Yes.
Very well. I love it. Good for you. What kind of debt was the 64?
There's about $12,000 in credit card debt, and the rest was student loans.
Okay. So what started this journey 2 years and 11 months ago?
So I got let go 2 years in a row on the same day, so the Thursday before Christmas. And
boy, your business sucks.
Yeah, well, that wasn't following the right path at the time.
It's full of sharks.
It was rough.
I mean, who fires people 2 days before Christmas in an industry twice in a row? Oh my gosh.
Exactly, and it kind of knocked me back, as you imagine.
Yeah.
I had already booked a vacation, and so I didn't enjoy it because I was unemployed at the time, making some real deep reflection about not wanting to be in this position in the future. And so the second half of my vacation was actually a meditation retreat. And up on the mountain, you don't get a radio signal. Coming down the mountain, the radio kicked in, and it was you.
No way.
I swear. And so I listened to you the whole way home, and I was like...
Random radio signals is my biggest promoter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I listened to you the whole way home, and I was just like, yeah, this is it. Jumped online, found Financial Peace University locally, bought your book, and it just clicked. It made sense. It was hook, line, I was game on. It was just ready to go at that point.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you land a new job.
Yes.
And then you land a new job.
Yes. It was actually 2 jobs just like that. I got focused on my money and then realizing that I wasn't valuing myself. And I just got, to use y'all's words, intentional. I was intentional with my money. It was month over month, grinding it out, and then reviewing month over month. What isn't working for me in my job? What isn't working for me in my income? Why are my peers making more? And it was because I wasn't valuing myself. And I just started making different decisions. And and kind of the rest is history. I love my job. I'm just the weight off my shoulders. Since I've been debt free, I paid my last student loan payment, and then I hit my digital nomad life the very next day. And it's been wonderful.
That is amazing. I love that level of intentionality. That's super powerful. What was the hardest part of your journey?
I think in the beginning, it was what felt like such a huge mountain. Even though I was really convicted and I knew I could do it, it felt so long. You're really ambitious in the beginning and you're like, yeah, I'm going to tighten my budget. I'm going to do everything right. I'm going to be debt free in 9 months. And it's like, wow. Then the heater goes out, and then and then my dog got injured, and then but I was able to cash flow nearly $20,000 worth of emergencies during that time, which was probably the more empowering piece of it because life kept happening over the 3 years, and I just handled it. I'm 41.
Okay, because this sounds like that the money piece was about 10% of the transformation.
Yeah.
That the other not 90% of the transformation for you was career, spiritual, psychological, mental health, everything. You came out of this a brand new you for sure, and the money piece is just a little part of the journey, really.
Absolutely.
It's a big journey, and we're getting to hear a part of it with the Debt Free Scream.
Completely.
That's what I think I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
Wow. powerful. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Well, you had to have people cheering you, because that type of all-encompassing transformation is it is more difficult than simply paying off debt. Yep. Because it's your guts turn over several times inside of your body and reform a different you when you're done. I don't know how to. That's not a good way of describing it, probably, but it's. I mean, I went through it in a sense when we went bankrupt. It was a spiritual thing. It was a relational thing. It was a psychological, emotional thing, and it was a money thing. And so I just reached a point, like, for instance, I used to really worry about what people think, and as of going bankrupt, I don't care what they think anymore. And I really should care a little bit more, but I just don't care at all. It's awful, and for 30 years it served me well, so I don't care at all. But that was it really wasn't a money thing. It was I gave up this need for affirmation from people I don't even know, which is stupid. In America, we do it at a level that, and social media, that never before. At record levels, we do that. And when you give that up, you can. In your case, though, you had this whole thing. You valued yourself, and it changed everything.
It really
I
did.
can see it. We can see it on your face, can't you?
Yeah, it's amazing. You're glowing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Who were your biggest cheerleaders?
My friend Crystal, who's actually here with me today. My mom, of course, and then my sister. She was probably my day-to-day cheerleader. She would be the one that I would confess when I fell off the wagon. I'd call her or text her and be like, "Oh God, Dave's gonna be so mad."
like I personally knew, yeah. Like I knew that girl up there in Philadelphia. Look at her. Yeah, no.
Pop up on the radio, coming down from a mountain.
I'm all powerful.
But the funny thing is that I would fall. Everybody falls off the wagon. It's not. If you haven't, congrats. But you do. You fall off the wagon. You make a bad choice. You fall into old habits, and I would be like, "Oh, Dave's gonna be so mad." Oh God. And then I would jump on Every Dollar, and I would
do it,
clean up my mistakes, and rebudget everything, and realize that I could just let it go and move forward, and just keep trucking, and that was just instrumental.
You got to feel like a completely different person because you are a different person.
I am. And I want to encourage, so coming down that mountain, I remember a very specific caller, and this is a ton of fun, and I highly encourage everyone to do it. But hearing yourself and other people's stories, share your story with people, because you don't know who's going to hear themselves. I've got people DMing me on social media, just in my private circle, asking me questions, and that's been the best part about this journey, is being able to help others, truly.
Yeah, so the radio comes into a signal, and there's somebody on the radio with your exact situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's called God doing that. Yeah, you can't. That's not coincidence. Pretty impressive.
Your life sounds so interesting now. How does it feel to be debt-free and to have the freedom to be a digital nomad and travel?
It's wonderful. So there's not a map for it, right? So growing up, you see things modeled for you, but being a digital nomad was not modeled for me growing up in the 80s and 90s. And so I've been able to craft the life that I want to live, that's right for me, this time around. And the freedom to do that, and to fly home and be near my nephew if I need to, or I spent a month in Florida closer to my father, who I haven't lived in proximity with in 2 decades, and being able, it gives me the freedom to make different choices that serves my heart and my soul, and I
good.
Couldn't be happier.
That's good.
So good.
We got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires for you. That's the next chapter in your story for sure.
Yeah.
We're very proud of you. Congratulations. You're an
Thank you.
impressive young woman.
Thank
very,
you.
very well done. Also a copy of Total Money Makeover for you to give away and then stir up a ruckus with somebody else. That'll be good too. So good stuff. Very good stuff. Rasa is with us from formerly from Philadelphia. Now she's from God knows where, and paid off $64,000 in 2 years and 11 months, making 60 to now 160, and the best kind of homeless. I'm saying this is what we're saying right here.
Yes.
So count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. I'm debt free.
Well, I'm going out at the break and meet my first digital nomad. I've never met one before. This is The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, Psalms 127:1, unless the Lord builds a house, the work of the builders is wasted. Unless the Lord protects a city, guarding it with sentries will do no good. William Arthur Ward said, 4 steps to achievement: plan purposefully, prepare prayerfully, proceed positively, and pursue persistently. And the other one is learn to say your P's in a row. My goodness. Wow. I don't know if I could get all that out there. A bit of alliteration. Can you help me with that, William Arthur Ward? Wow. All right. Let me see if I can do it again. Plan purposefully, prepare prayerfully, proceed positively, pursue persistently. I did it.
Nailed it.
It sounds like a voice coach exercise to see if you can hit those P's. That's pretty impressive. All right, I'm got to get out of this. Kevin's in Houston. What are you doing, Kevin?
Hey, Dave. Can you hear me?
Sure. What's up?
So I'm calling in. I've been in a little bit of a pickle trying to decide what loans to pay off and whether or not to pull out of investment accounts that were set up for me when I was younger. My buddy Brandon recommended actually just calling on your show, which is why I'm here now. I've got, right now I've got, actually when I look at it total, quite a bit of debt, 95,000 total. 13 of that is a car, 7 of that is federal student loans, 42 is private student loans. And I'm paying just a little bit over minimum on most of those. I round up to the next 100, but I am.
Well, what's the other 40 grand?
Oh, sorry. 40 is private student loans.
No, you said 32. So you said 32 was student loans, 7 was student loans, and 13 was a car.
Oh, shoot, I'm mixing them up. 32 is a rental property that I own. It's a house that I don't live in that I rent out.
Oh, okay.
42 is private student loans.
Okay, now I'm there. Now I'm to 95. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm caught up with you. And how much money you got in the bank from all these different things?
So between my checking and what I consider my emergency savings, I've got 10,000. 9,000 that's sitting in kind of investment accounts. Some of that was set up before I was even able to talk. And then 4,000 that I had earmarked for some travel that I was trying to budget and save ahead for.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I got I guess what I'd call 23,000 that's scare quotes available, although some of that's the emergency fund.
Yeah.
So it's I've got 23,000 and it's do I currently make about $64,000 a year base salary. I do get overtime and some bonuses, which I usually throw into savings.
Okay. Your friend sent you into a bear trap. So, because I could tell by talking to you that you're not super familiar with everything we do, and so I'm going to be super gentle. Okay. Is that okay?
I have read Total Money Makeover, believe it or not. But I feel like I've definitely half-assed everything.
Okay, well, you definitely have, yeah, without a doubt. Okay, then I'm not going to be as gentle. Okay. I'm going to love you well, Kevin. I'm going to love you well. So here's the thing. What you've got to decide is, are you going to keep doing what you've been doing? You don't have to decide it right now, but you do need to make that decision because, as you said, half-ass doing it doesn't work. Being half butt, it gives you half a butt. I mean, it's just that you're not going to get there. So the thing is, if you study the data, which we have done over the years with what millionaires do, people that become millionaires starting from nothing, and you have the potential to do that, the first thing they do is they clean up their debt because your most powerful wealth building tool is your income. And so once you make that decision and you say, all right, I want to become wealthy, and the shortest distance between where I am and wealth is to get rid of the debt, then debt becomes the enemy once you put that set of assumptions in your brain. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I think so.
Okay. If you say the shortest way to something is X, then X becomes the thing, right? If the shortest way to lose weight is drink more water, then drink more water becomes the thing. You follow me?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you either decide that what we teach is right, or you decide it's not right, and you go find a different way of doing your life, and that's okay. I'm not mad at you for that. But millions and millions of people have followed this exact plan, and we've got data to back it up, and we've got lots and lots of case studies to back it up that it works. So, given that, yeah, you're not traveling anywhere. You're freaking broke. So your little travel fund goes on your debt. And you list your debts smallest to largest. You take 6 extra jobs. You don't see the inside of a restaurant unless you're working there. And don't talk to me about vacations. You're working all the time. You are a broke guy, and you need to clean this freaking mess up. And this is how I talk to myself when I got out, dude. So I'm going to talk to you this way because I love you and I want you to win. All right? So you list your debts smallest to largest, and you attack them with a vengeance. What's this rental worth?
So it's a single-family house. It's about $50,000 in value.
Good. Sell it. Sell it. It's a crappy little house.
It's a cash flowing property.
It's a crappy little house. It's a lot of hassle in your life. You're not cash flowing $100 when all the smoke clears and the repairs on it. I own real estate. There's no margin in this deal. You got a 20% or 30% equity position, and there's no margin in it. And it's not the answer to your wealth building. I want you to get real estate later, and I want you to pay cash for it. But right now, it's a distraction, and it costs you money when the smoke clears are very, very close to it. It certainly costs you your time, and you're making $1 an hour screwing with this thing. So you need to get rid of it. List your debts smallest to largest, and get in attack mode, and you could be debt free in like 14 to 18 months if you do what I'm talking about, and you follow the total money makeover. But you got to decide if you want to do that or not. Not everybody does. Les Brown, Christina Les Brown, the great motivator, said people change their lives when they finally say, I've had it. I've had it. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah. And I think it's great that he called in because he's in a great spot to make that change right now. While $95K in debt sounds super intimidating, when you break down his situation, it's like he can do this pretty quickly if he sells the rental, if he pulls some of those investments from when he was a kid that, could go towards that debt. He's in a great spot. But like you said, he's just got to make that decision and go all in, gazelle intense.
I forgot about that other $20,000. So we sell the rental, it gets rid of 30 of the 95. I got 42, I got 7, I got 13, and I got 1923 in the account. I got to hold 1,000 for baby step 1, so I got 22 to throw to this. So the car's paid off, the student loans are paid off. The only thing left is the 42 in student loans.
Yep.
And he can do this.
Right.
And whatever you make on the rental, you throw at the student loans too, and you clean this freaking mess up, dude. Now you're out of that. He's out of debt in 9 months, if he gets to gazelle intensity. But if you keep screwing around with it, half button it, this doesn't work. It just doesn't work if you half butt it. You're going to have to get a different system if you're going to half butt.
And I appreciate that he was willing to admit that. Right?
Oh, yeah, me too. Because the thing is, the definition of insanity, the 12-steppers say, is continuing to do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So you can keep doing what you've been doing in your marriage relationship, and you're going to have the exact same marriage relationship. It could be good. If you got a good one, keep doing it, right? You could keep doing this parenting stuff. But I remember Mom, when we would be raising Cain as little hillbillies running in and out of the house, she would say, and the worm has turned. And we didn't even know what that meant, except the beatings were about to begin. But that was Shakespeare, it turns out. Who knew Mom knew Shakespeare? But what that meant was, enough, this craziness stops. And you got to do that to yourself. You got to go, enough. This craziness stops. I'm not going to keep baking a cake wondering why it's chocolate when I used a chocolate recipe. Change the recipe, and that when they do that, Christina, life changes.
Absolutely. And that's why we say that money, it's 80% behavior, 20% head knowledge. It's about changing your behavior, the way you think around money, and actually shifting things.
Exactly. Christina Ellis, ladies and gentlemen, her first day as a co-host. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Ramsey personality, best-selling author. I love it. Very well done today. Very
so
well
much
done.
Fun.
And James and Kelly, you guys did a good job too in there. Not, in spite of yourselves, life's good. We'll put this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace. Dave here. You can find all of our shows with the Ramsey Network app on your smartphone. It's the only place to listen to the entire back catalog of episodes. Download the Ramsey Network app in your favorite app store today.